to the AI Campa Show's second season of Pokemon Universe.
Please subscribe and give like. Enjoy.
Okay, let's start with an object. It's everywhere. Red and white, button in the middle. We all know what it looks like.
It's iconic, for sure.
Totally. It's on T-shirts, lunchboxes.
Right.
But I want to kind of, push all that pop culture stuff aside for a minute.
And just look at it as a piece of tech within its own world.
Exactly.
Which is where it gets, surprisingly complicated. And if you really strip away the merchandise, the game mechanics, that little sphere is, I would argue, one of the most terrifyingly powerful devices ever invented.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's a strong word for the thing I use to catch a Pidgey.
Well, think about what it actually represents. Without that one device, the entire structure of the Pokemon world as we know it just collapses.
What do you mean?
The leagues, the gyms, the whole idea of a 10-year-old just wandering around the world safely, none of that exists. This object is the absolute linchpin of their entire civilization.
I guess I always just saw it as a tool, like a leash or a crate.
It's so much more than a tool. It's a mediator. And today, we're going to tear it apart. We're going to look at the really messy history of its invention, the genuinely weird physics of how it works.
And the ethics, right? The big one.
Oh, yeah. The massive ethical headache of whether or not it's actually moral to even use one.
The morality of the captures. Okay, we are definitely getting to that. But let's start with the history. Because there's this assumption that people and Pokemon have always been, buddies.
That is the single biggest misconception. If you look at the archaeological records, especially from the Hisuian era, the world was a completely different place.
It wasn't me and my buddy Pikachu.
No. It was, don't go into the tall grass or you will die. Seriously.
Yeah.
Without the ball, a Charizard isn't a partner. It's a fire-breathing dragon that sees you as a potential snack.
Right.
The records we have from the Galaxy Expedition team in Hisui, they paint a picture of total segregation. Humans were in these walled settlements. Pokemon roamed the wilds, and the relationship was just fear.
So if you wanted to team up with a Pokemon back then,
you didn't throw a ball. You had to feed it, gain its trust over weeks, maybe months, and just hope it didn't decide to electrocute you one day.
That sounds incredibly inefficient. And dangerous.
It was, which is why the invention of that first prototype Pokeball was such a monumental moment. But it wasn't the sleek metal sphere we have today, not at all.
This is the part I love. The Apricorns.
Yes, it was bioengineering. They weren't mining metal, they were harvesting fruit. The apricorn is this incredibly hard-shelled nut that for some reason has these natural properties that just react with Pokemon energy.
It's very steampunk. You're hollowing out a nut, you're fitting it with a little mechanical latch.
And a chunk of tumblestone for weight. And it was so crude, these early versions, you have to remember, they didn't have digital targeting or safety protocols.
You had to hit them in the back, right, to catch them unaware.
Exactly, and the balls could just break.
Oh, that's a nightmare scenario. You catch a raging Ursaring, the latch fails, and boom, the bear is back in your living room.
That was the reality. But even with all those flaws, this was the moment civilization shifted. It went from coexistence through avoidance to partnership through containment.
It basically democratized power.
Precisely. It leveled the playing field between a fragile human and a creature that can literally summon earthquakes.
Okay, so we move from hollowed-out nuts to the modern era. And this is where my brain starts to hurt a little. Because we accept the magic in a game, but if we apply actual physics to what happens, what are we even looking at?
We are looking at one of the most advanced forms of matter-to-energy conversion imaginable.
Walk me through it. I throw the ball, it hits. What happens then?
The ball emits a specific frequency. We see it as that red beam of light. That beam deconstructs the physical matter of the Pokemon and converts it into a suspended energy form.
It digitizes its biology.
In a nutshell, yes.
But okay, here's my hang-up. Mass. I catch a Snorlax. That thing weighs 1,000 pounds. I put the ball on my belt. Why don't my pants fall down?
And that is the genius of the design. The ball doesn't just store the data of the Pokemon. It contains the mass in, a subspace pocket or some kind of suspended state where the external weight is just neutralized.
So the ball always weighs the same?
Always. Whether it's empty or holding a literal whale.
That's wild. That implies the ball is creating its own little pocket dimension or something.
It has to be. And that also explains the PC storage system, right? Since the Pokemon is basically converted into energy into data, that data can be transferred.
So I'm literally emailing my dog.
In a sense, yes, it sounds cold, but it proves that the Pokemon in that state is pure information.
Okay, that brings us to the question everyone asks. And I'm going to be the skeptic here. You're telling me we turn these living, breathing creatures into data and shove them in a tiny pocket. Is that pleasant? Is the Pokeball a prison?
This is the big debate, isn't it? Is it solitary confinement? But if you look at the schematics and the lore that manufacturers like Silphco provide, they claim the interior is a virtual environment designed for total comfort.
Claim is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. That sounds like corporate marketing. Don't worry, the lion loves its cage.
It does sound suspicious, I'll give you that, but we have evidence from the Pokemon themselves. If the ball was some kind of torture chamber or just a void, you'd expect them to be aggressive or traumatized every time they come out.
Right, they'd come out swinging at their own trainer, not the opponent.
Exactly. But instead, they emerge rested. They often go back into the ball willingly when they're hurt. It acts like a regenerative pod.
So it's not a jail cell, it's the Matrix, a simulated paradise.
That's a very good analogy. It's a stasis field that mimics their ideal habitat. So a water type isn't in a dry room, they're in a simulated hydro environment.
Okay, but getting them in there, that's where the paradise argument gets a little rocky for me. The capture itself, the struggle.
Wobble.
The wobble. You throw the ball, it shakes. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it clicks, sometimes they just burst right out. Is that just a mechanical failure? The clamp isn't strong enough?
I don't think so. If you look at catch rates in the lore, they're deeply tied to the Pokemon's health, its status. But more importantly, I think it's tied to their will.
Their will.
Think about it. A healthy, full-strength Pokemon breaks out almost instantly. Why? Because it hasn't accepted defeat. The wobble. It's a physical manifestation of a negotiation.
A negotiation. That feels like a generous word for I'm throwing a rock at you until you stop moving.
It's an aggressive negotiation, sure, but the fact that they can break out implies that the ball requires a degree of submission, or maybe even consent to function. The Pokemon has to stop resisting.
So when the ball fails, that's the Pokemon basically saying, nope, you haven't impressed me yet.
Precisely. It turns the capture from a simple kidnapping into a test of worthiness. You have to prove you're strong enough to be their partner.
That actually makes me feel a little better about the whole thing. It implies they have veto power.
They do, except, well, there are exceptions.
He's talking about legendaries.
Legendaries are one, yeah. They seem to just decide to join a trainer, and the ball is just a formality. But I was actually thinking of the technological exception.
Ah, the Master Ball.
The Master Ball.
The purple ball with the M on it. The cheat code.
It completely changes the ethical equation, because what does it do?
It catches anything. No failure rate, no wobble. You throw it and it's done.
Exactly. It removes the negotiation. It removes that veto power we just talked about. It doesn't matter if it's a Pidgey or a literal god of time and space. If that ball hits, the capture is guaranteed.
When you put it that way, the Master Ball sounds kind of evil.
It's certainly authoritarian. It bypasses the whole social contract of the battle. It's absolute dominion over nature.
Which explains why you can't just buy them at the corner store. I always thought that was just a game balance thing. But narratively, maybe they have to be rare.
I think they do. Imagine a world where Master Balls are just mass-produced.
The whole dynamic changes. It's not a partnership anymore. It's just harvesting.
It becomes a dystopia. The bond is based on that struggle, that mutual respect. If you can just point and click to own a living creature, the soul of that relationship is gone.
So the scarcity isn't just economics. It's a moral imperative.
Yeah.
Silphco made a device that was too good, and society kind of implicitly agreed, okay, we should really only use these for emergencies.
Or for creatures that are simply too dangerous to be allowed to roam free. It's the nuclear option.
Speaking of Silphco, we should touch on the industrial side. We went from those hand-carved Apricorns to this massive global industry. You've got Silphco, Encanto, Devancore, and Hone.
This is the industrial revolution of the Pokemon world, and what I love is how the technology started to specialize. It stopped being one-size-fits-all.
Right, you get net balls, dust balls, dive balls.
And the engineering there is fascinating to think about. A net ball, it's better for bug and water types. Why?
I'm assuming it doesn't shoot out an actual net.
No, probably not. It more likely adjusts the energy frequency of the capture beam to specifically target the biological signatures of, say, exoskeletons or aquatic scales. It resonates with them, which makes the whole submission process easier.
That makes sense. And a dust ball.
Probably has a sensor that works better in low light, Or maybe it creates a darker, more comforting internal environment for nocturnal species. It entices them to stay inside.
It's targeted marketing for monsters. Come on inside. We have dark mode.
It really is. And it shows that humans started trying to meet the Pokemon halfway. Instead of just forcing them into a standard box, they started building custom homes.
Which brings it all back to that idea of partnership again.
Exactly. The tech evolved to be more accommodating.
So we've gone through the tech, the history, the ethics. But I want to close on the symbolism. Because in this universe, getting your first Poké Ball is a massive deal.
It's a rite of passage. It's the moment a child becomes a trainer.
But think about the trust involved in that. Society is handing a 10-year-old a device that can weaponize a dragon.
It's an incredible amount of trust. But the Pokeball itself is the symbol of that responsibility. It's society saying, we trust you to be the bridge between our world and theirs.
It's the Spider-Man rule. With great power
comes great responsibility. And think about the alternative. We talked about Hisui fear, separation, walls. The Pokeball broke those walls down.
It's funny, we usually tell stories where technology separates us from nature. We're looking at screens instead of trees. But here, the technology is the only thing truly connecting people to nature on this scale.
That's the paradox. The Pokeball is pure high-tech lasers, energy conversion, data storage, but its entire purpose is biological connection. It lets a human hike up a mountain and bond with a creature that should, by all rights, eat them.
It's a universal translator for intent. It says, I'm not prey, I'm a potential partner.
And that's why the control versus partnership debate is so interesting. Does it control them? Physically, yes, it contains them, but emotionally, it enables a relationship that biology just wouldn't allow otherwise.
The handshake.
It is the handshake. Without the ball, there is no Ash and Pikachu. There is only a boy running away from a lightning storm.
Wow. That is a really profound way to look at it. We see a plastic toy, but the people in that world see a peace treaty.
A peace treaty you can clip to your belt.
So let me ask you this. After digging into all of this, the physics, the ethics, the Master Ball, do you see the Pokeball differently now?
I do. I see it as a compromise. It's this imperfect solution to a very dangerous world. It's not purely good. It captures and digitizes living things, which is horrifying on paper. But the result, this world where humans and Pokemon can live in harmony, it seems to justify the means.
The necessary technology that created a kind of utopia.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, next time I boot up a game and hear that little click sound, I'm going to be thinking about the quantum physics and the social contract happening in that split second.
As you should. Never take the tech for granted.
This has been a wild ride. Thanks for breaking down the science of the sphere with me.
Always a pleasure to get into the details.
And to everyone listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Whether you're Team Silphco or an Apricorn traditionalist, keep exploring.
Catch you next time.
See ya.